Flashback to 2042. We see Rob and Jade standing back to back as deadheads are surrounding them in every direction. As he says, "And go!" as they kill multiple deadheads coming at them from up the hill. Afterwards, we see Rob and Jade standing among the dead bodies all around them, as he says, "Nice going there." Jade says, "Do you think it was better than last time?" Rob says, "Oh, definitely." Jade says, "Dad, how much longer are we going to be on this hunt? I kind of miss home, you know?" Rob says, "Yeah, I know. Hopefully another day or so. Food's been limited lately." As Jade then looks out into the distance and smiles and says, "Oh shit, look!" As they then see from far an old lodge, as Rob says, "Hey, good catch, kiddo." They walk up to the entrance as they both knock. Rob signals as they push in. As we see, Jade runs up to a deadhead as she then kills a few of them. As she then sees Rob kills another one as well. As he checks upstairs, as he then walks down and says, "It's clear. This will be a good spot to rest. We'll head home tomorrow." Later that night, we see them sitting inside of this lodge with a fire going, as Rob says, "Good going out there today." Jade says, "Thanks. So does this mean I'm ready for my own hunting trips?" Rob says, "Oh, no, sweetheart. That's not what I meant. Let's just stick to our own for now, okay? Maybe at least till you're a little bit older." Jade says, "Dad, I'm older now. I can handle it." Rob looks worried and says, "I know you can, sweetheart. It scares me, frankly. All the things you're capable of. It scares me because, frankly, you are capable, I think. I just love you so much, I don't want anything to happen to you. The thought of you being out there by yourself, surviving, defending yourself, even just for a night or two, it scares the absolute hell out of me." Jade says, "I know, Dad. You know, when you first took me in, after you rescued me, I didn't even know how to talk to you for a long time, but you finally taught me what it was like to feel like myself again. You did that, Dad." Rob says, "Well, before you, I was a mess. Tell you the truth." Jade says, "No, you weren't. How so? You seem to have been doing fine before you met me." Rob laughs and says, "Oh, I didn't have it all together. Honey, before you, my life was a mess. I once worked for a man that didn't care about me or what I was doing. All he cared about was getting money in his bank account and the money he made off of me. And eventually, I said enough. Eventually, I realized what kind of a maniac he was. I lost my best friend to drugs out there on the road. And my boss didn't even care about that, because he was making money off of me. But he wanted somebody to take the fall, so he killed my wife. And he blamed it on her. She was pregnant. I was originally going to be a father a long time ago. But I didn't get the chance because of him. Because of that man. Then I left his company altogether. I started my own music business, but eventually, I convinced myself that I wasn't the problem. He was." Jade says, "Wow. I'm sorry. Though, can I ask, Dad? Did you deal with this man? Did you lock him up or whatever they used to do back in the day?" Rob says, "I never got a chance to, unfortunately. That man got away. No, you know what I thought when that happened? I gotta kill him. That was my first thought. I gotta find a way to murder this man, to get revenge for everything he did. I actually told myself there was no way I could be happy without being right in front of him, seeing him dead, all that type of shit. And for a while that was my thought. But him being dead, it isn't gonna change what happened to me. It isn't going to change that I accepted the job that he gave me and then he ruined my life because I accepted that job. It's not going to bring me any satisfaction, and it certainly isn't going to bring me my wife back or my unborn child and my best friend back then. And even though it was his fault, I was part of the problem because I went along with it for all that time. And I let those things happen. Jade says, well, you couldn't have known. Rob says, well, maybe not, but a good while after the world turned into what it did, I led my own people for a time. Jade looks shocked and says, wait, really? Rob says, it's true. It was actually a little bit before I found you. I was in a war with a lot of bad people. People that tried to reshape the world into the way they wanted it. I thought I was making a difference. Christ, I started a rebellion. The truth is, none of what I did mattered. Jade says, well, why'd you leave, Dad? Are they even still around anymore? Rob looks sad and kind of nervous as he says, It's been years. I don't know. I had to get out of there. A lot of people died, honey. A lot. So many died. But when I found you, I knew I couldn't bring you back to that. I did it so I could raise you in a good environment, without horrible people manipulating you or telling you a way to be or anything like that. That place wasn't good. Jade says, I had no idea. Dad, you been out here all this time for me? Rob says, yeah. Because for once, I want to be able to have a family on my own terms the way I want it, and that's why I'm so protective of you, honey. I just want you safe. But I want you to promise me, if I die, Jade says, Dad, stop. Rob says, no, just listen. If I die, promise me you'll always remember everything I taught you. Promise. Jade says, only if you promise that if I die first, you won't lose who you are, and that you'll feel that you can be the leader and the hero that you apparently were. Don't stop what you were doing just because of me, Dad. Don't. Rob chuckles and says, I won't have to promise you, because nobody kills me. You know that by now. Jade says, right. Well, just don't forget. Rob says, I won't. As we see them sitting around the fire, as they both look out at the sky together. Currently, we see Ragnar pulls his gun on Mara as he says, look at me! Why? Why Miller? I haven't heard that name in years. One of the skull hunters says. The Miller and West family are dangerous people. They've been all around the country, though for a long time, we could never find them. We always hear about them, though. Where the hell have they been hiding out at? Mara looks nervous as she says, I can explain, okay? I can explain. Ragnar says, Fine. But you better tell me the truth here, because I'm this fucking close to blowing your brains out. Mara then looks scared for her life and says, I'm not a West, okay? Or a Miller. I'm not. I swear. I have nothing to do with those people. I have nothing to do with that name. That's just what we called ourselves. The skull hunter then says, Then who the hell are you? Why are you carrying this necklace? Mara says, Because we're not them. But we had to be. The West family picked the wrong fight with the wrong people a long time ago. And you just so happen to be looking at a victim of them right now. These people were savages. These people were killers. And many years ago, there was a fight across the border. They killed, they took. The West family were monsters, and everyone knew it. People were afraid to even approach these people. They became hostile and unapproachable, and their leader, after he died, they became the problem. The enforcer says, So where are they now? Mara looks at them with a death stare and says, The West family isn't active anymore. Years ago, they got into the wrong fight with the wrong people. The West family have been gone for years. Ragnar and the others look shocked to hear this as Mara says, You think you've been hunting the West family? We've conned you the entire time. No, you're just too stupid to see. You've been following a bunch of nobodies. People that are just trying to survive day after day. I mean, Christ, we even fooled the rock star. We're just a family that thought that the only way to protect ourselves is to tell people we're them. So we could live in peace from others. Kinda like yourself, actually. The West family is gone. Sorry for your luck. And unless you want to be known as the man that killed a woman and her unborn child, I suggest you put that fucking gun down. The enforcer looks mad as Ragnar laughs and says, It all makes sense now. Mara says, So Ragnar, after all this time, you got the answer you wanted? You got the truth from us? It's time for you to decide. What kind of man are you? Are you a natural-born leader, like you say you are? Or are you still that rich piece of shit that gunned down a woman and her unborn child? The choice is yours. All yours. Ragnar keeps the gun to her head as he then starts to lower it as he says, Take her. We'll bring her back to Wyoming. After the kid is born, I want this woman executed. Give the child to a new family. We'll raise the kid right. And if you're lying, sweetheart, well, we'll just kill you anyway. As they load her up in the back of a big vehicle, as they take her, as they all take off with Mara hostage, as we see, Mara has told Ragnar the truth. Back with Rob and Vel. We now see Rob and Vel standing back to back as we see a group of deadheads surrounding them. As Rob says, We gotta find the others, Vel. Vel kills a few deadheads as she says, Yeah, we fucking do. You think they got out? Rob says, Well, I saw Mara running into the woods. Ryder helped her get out. He kills a few more as she says, Alright, well, we'll circle back around then. Fucking find them. We've gotten this far, we need to find the rest. We need to get them back before Ragnar does, Rob says. Yeah, it's just what I'm worried about. We see more deadheads surrounding Rob and Vel, as Vel says. Rob! Rob gets tackled down by a few as they are on top of him. Vel is fighting off several as she's trying to get to him as she says, Rob, just hang on! Out of nowhere, we see a machete goes through the back of its head as we see someone saved Rob. Ryder then says, take my hand. As we see Ryder, Tugo, and Kai running into the fight with their weapons, as Vel joins in as they all kill the rest of these deadheads together and defeat the rest. They all sit by a log as Rob gives Kai some water as he says, here, we don't need you falling down. Kai says, I'm fine. You should save it. Vel says, so is that all of us? Ryder says, no, my mother was on patrol. She has to be out here somewhere. She has to be. Vel says, don't worry, okay? We'll find her. We will. Ryder says, Mara, did anyone see her get out? Rob says, I did. But it was so crazy. I'm sorry. I haven't seen her. Ryder looks scared and gets up and says, no, she's out here somewhere, and I'm going to find her. Rob stops him in his tracks as Ryder says, step aside, Johnson. That's the mother of my child. I have to get to her. Rob says, all right, I understand. But you're not going to do this by yourself. We'll all go. Find Mara, find Elara, then we figure out where to go next. Come on. We see the snowstorm is starting to get worse as he says, we gotta go now. As they all move together to try to find the rest of their people. Back with Mara. We see her riding in the back of the armored van as we see the Enforcer and Athena up front. As Ragnar is sitting with his men next to Mara as she looks in this van, and Ragnar says, look familiar? Well, this is the exact van we took you in after we found you that night and killed Rob's daughter. I saw him last night, by the way. Oh, I gave him a big old blast from the past. Ragnar smiles as Mara looks worried and says, did you kill him? Ragnar says, ooh, unfortunately no. You see, Rob was put up to the challenge, and he passed. And that's what life is, Mara. It's a challenge. Whether or not you'll live long enough to raise your baby, you'll get to find out whether or not you pass as well. Athena says, that's enough, Dad. Ragnar says, it's just honest. You may not be the Western Miller family, but you still killed a lot of my men, so justice will be served. Out of nowhere, they get hit by another vehicle. We then see Elara, Hunter, and some others come out of their vehicle. As they open fire on the van, Ragnar ducks and gets down as he uses the Enforcer as a shield to protect himself. As some of the Skull Hunters are getting lit up by our group, Mara then sees her chance as she then runs out. As Elara says, Mara, I'll cover you! As Hunter then throws her a gun from far, as Mara takes it with one hand and fires towards them. As she then fires towards Ragnar, as she shoots the Enforcer in front of him. As she then runs back to Elara and the others, as Elara then says, Hunter, come on! As we see the Enforcer, Athena, and Ragnar all running away, as Ragnar looks pissed, as we see Mara broke free. Elara then hugs Mara and says, are you okay? Mara says, yeah. How did you find me? Elara says, well, we saw what was left of the castle. We were guarding the theme park like requested, but they didn't show. Then when we saw the smoke, we knew they went to you, and it looked like they came for Vel directly. And then when we saw they had you, we had to push in. Did you see my son last night? Mara then says, he's actually the reason I got out, but I haven't seen him since I got out. Elara then says, all right, hop inside. We're gonna go find them right now. As they speed off to find the rest of our people. We see Rob and the others walking the roads as we hear a vehicle pulling up to them. Rob and the others pull out their weapons as they get ready, but then we see Mara, Elara, and Hunter get out as Ryder runs to Mara as he hugs her and says, "Are you okay?" Elara says, "Hey there, kiddo. Got a hug for me?" Ryder then hugs her too and says, "I'm glad you're both alive. I'm so fucking happy you're alive." Mara then says, "Well, you can thank Mrs. West. If she didn't come in there and save me that way, I'm pretty sure I would have been dead." Hunter then says, "Yeah, dudes, I saw the whole thing. Tugo, what do you call him again?" Tugo says, Ragtard. Hunter says, "Right. Yeah, Ragtard had her, and he wanted to use her against us. Just like he did with all of us." Rob says, "Well, he's been using us in his own life for way too damn long." Vel says, "Well, not any fucking more. I'm getting my very own orgasm just by the thought of us being back together again. It's really fucking warming my heart. But we don't have any fighters left, and the longer we stay out here, the more than likely they're gonna kill us all. So what do we do?" They seriously outnumber us now, badly. Rob says, "Yeah, I know, I've been thinking that. But I'm not gonna stop until I kill Ragnar, no matter what. But right now, I think we gotta get away from here. For the time being, at least. As far as we can. Until we're strong enough for all of us to kill the rest of these people. If we keep fighting like this..." He looks at Kai and he looks at all of them, tired and bruised, and says, "If we keep fighting like this, we're only gonna get ourselves killed." Vel says, "I agree. We gotta think about Mara, the baby." Elara says, "Well, we're running on fumes on this thing. Come on, we'll see how far we can get. Then we'll walk to wherever we go next." Vel says, "Yeah, but where would we go?" Elara looks at her and says, "Where the West family would go. It's where it all began. The place that mattered. The same place that your master taught you. The same place that we all built relationships and bonded. It's far, but if we try, we can make it." Ryder says, "Mom, why would we ever go back there?" Elara says, "Because Ragnar doesn't know about it. And if he doesn't know where we are, when we're ready, we'll attack on our own terms. And if we don't, we'll hopefully have a safer place for that child that's about to be born." As they all get in and drive off together. Flashback. We see Rob in his garage putting on his biker jacket as he hears a woman says, "Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson." Rob says, "Yeah." We see a woman walks up to him and says, "You sure you want me coming along on this little trip?" Rob says, "Of course we do. Haley, you and your people always are welcome here. I've made my friends over the years, and getting to know your people, you're definitely needed on this one." Haley says, "All right. Well, I appreciate it. This is your show today, Mr. Johnson." Rob says, "It's not entirely my show. Some of your people equally led the way with me through this whole thing. So the way I kind of look at it is, it's our show." Haley says, "All right. Well, our show it is." Rob says, "I honestly wish we didn't have to do this. If the world hadn't gone mad, who knows where I'd be right now." Haley says, "Yeah, I know where I'd be. I'd probably be some chef in some big restaurant by now. My husband always said I was the greatest cook he had ever met." Rob laughs and says, "Well, it's better than mine. Sitting in jail, all the fake news say a bunch of bullshit about me that isn't true, just to entertain themselves all day. Yeah, that'd have been no life, though it would have been easier." A man knocks at the door and says, "Ready for go, boss?" Rob says, "All right." As they walk out together. Currently, we see Rob and the others walking through this blizzard as we see the sun is going down, as Rob says to Vel, "You okay?" Vel says, "Have to be. You know, I keep thinking about what my master always taught me. No matter how many times I blame myself, it's never going to bring back anything I lost. I can be upset for the people that died. I can be upset about the people that died last night. I can be upset about the way that it went down. and I could be upset about the way it's just us now. But he always told me, until you're alone in the grass, with nothing but a sword in your hand, then you can decide whether you live or die. Because nobody else will care at that point, whether or not you do or you don't. Until you have nobody to fight for, it should absolutely matter whether you live or die. But until that moment happens, we'll keep fighting for another day, Mr. Johnson. And that's alright by me. Rob says, you know, I stayed out here to keep my daughter safe. I wanted to let her grow up in a way where she wouldn't have to be ruled by anyone or told a certain way to live, and now she's gone. It's funny, as soon as she died, everything controlled us. Suddenly it feels like my purpose is back to what it was before when I led my own people. Val says, what is it? But then, we see the shadows of multiple men standing in the woods in front of them. Rob and the others look panicked as they all try to turn back, but then even more are coming up behind them as they are getting surrounded. Rob sees a clearing and says, there, go! They all run for their lives as they all run and run as fast as they can. As we see the Skull Hunters pulling out their weapons, as we then see in the shadows Ragnar covered in blood of his fallen soldiers, as he looks angry and says, the end is near, Johnson. As we see them running as fast as they can, as we then see an old shack from a distance, as Rob sees it and says, there, go! As they run towards it, as we see, this is the same shack that Rob and Jade found years ago. As we see Ragnar marching towards them with his knife, as Rob and the others all lock themselves in, as Rob says, okay, we need to find a way out of here. Vel says, there's nothing but what we got. We see the Skull Hunters surrounding them all around the shack from the outside, as Rob and the others look around outside the window, as we see there is nowhere to go. Ragnar slowly walks up to the door of the shack and says, Rob, there's no use of hiding anymore. Finally, after all this time, there's no more defenses, excuses, big armies, or any carries getting in the way of this. It's time you and I settled this like men. Rob looks angry and says, then how about you come in here and face us? We're right here! Ragnar signals his men as they light a torch and pass it to Ragnar, as Ragnar says, now Rob, all these years we've known each other, I wouldn't think I'd have to tell you by now. I don't play by the rules, Johnson. He smashes a window in and throws the torch in as he lets a fire start inside of the shack with everyone inside. Everyone looks panicked as the fire spreads, as Ragnar is saying, Rob, you know, the first time I met you, I almost didn't walk over to introduce myself. True story. But something sparked in me. I guess I could just help myself. You have this pull about you, Rob. As we see the fires spreading, as Ryder says, we gotta get the hell out of here. Ryder goes to the other side as he busts the window down as the smoke is running through the entire place very quickly. As Elara and Mara get out first, as they jump out, Mara is coughing as Elara sees 3 Skull Hunters in front of them, as she says, stay away from my granddaughter. As she then starts killing all 3 of them, as she slices all of them up, Vel and Tugo jump out next, as Vel then says, Rob, come on! Rob, come on! We see Ragnar and the other Skull Hunters are busting down the front door as they come in charging, as we then see Kai and Hunter are the last ones after, as Hunter jumps out as Rob says, "Kai, come on! Kai, come on!" Kai then says, "I ain't going nowhere, brother. Let's take these motherfuckers right here." Skull Hunters come running in after them with weapons as Rob chops them in half with his sword. Ragnar sees this going on his way in as Kai kills one too, as we then see one of the Skull Hunters throws a knife towards Kai as he then ducks, as Rob then slices and kills 3 other men, as we see the fire is all on the walls, as we then see the smoke is getting darker, as he says, "Kai, get the hell out of here!" Kai then runs to the window as he then stops. Rob stands there as he sees Ragnar in front of him, as he hears, "I want you to promise me, if I die." Jade says, "Dad, stop." Rob says, "No, just listen. If I die, promise me you'll never forget anything I taught you. Promise." Jade says, "Only if you promise that if I die first, you won't lose who you are, that you can be that leader, that hero, like you apparently were." Rob smiles and says, "I won't have to promise, because nobody's gonna kill me." Jade says, "Right. Well, just don't forget." Rob says, "I won't." As Rob then sees Ragnar, as he then charges towards him and pushes him into the fire, as they both go down together, Rob then says, "Any man that stands behind the flames of fire is no goddamn man." Ragnar smiles and says, "And a man that protects his family. Oh, wait, you never could." As we see the rest of our people getting out of there and running for their lives, Rob sees them get out and Rob says, "I just did, Mark Daniels. I just did. Because all it ever came down to was the artist and the con man." You must have been in a place so dark. Vel and the others are running into the woods, but then, out of nowhere, the shack gets blown up from behind them. And as the shack is up in flames, it ends Rob and Ragnar's life, as he dies so that Vel and his family could live.
That's what I keep asking. Was there anything I could have said or done? Oh, I had no clue.
Vel has tears coming down her face. "Get up! Get up! Get up! We gotta go! We gotta go! We gotta go, Vel! We gotta go!"
In the middle of a song. Now in my mind I'll keep you frozen as a 17-year-old.
Flashback. We see Rob sitting on a dock by the river as we hear, "Damn, this view is nice." We see a man walks up to him and hands him a beer as he sits with him, and Rob says, "Thanks. Where's Rivers? I figured she'd want to be a part of this little drinking session." The guy says, Rivers has been bedridden all fucking day from last night. There was no way she was coming out today." Rob laughs and he says, "Well, all things considered, I think we had a pretty good day today. The wall's finally finished. We finally have a proper home, Tom." Tom says, "Cheers to that." Rob says, "You know, all things considered, I'm happy with the way it all turned out. I mean, sure, it may not have been what we expected, but I think this will do fine. At least until one day, we get the victory everybody's been waiting for." Tom says, You know, I've been meaning to ask you something, Robbie boy. Now, I don't mean to pry, because I thought your music was fucking awesome and everything, but where do you think career-wise you'd be at this point, you know, if the world hadn't gone to shit?" Rob says, well, I'd still be in jail. And if I didn't do that, I probably just would have been depressed and alone. Had a bunch of money in the account, not really sure what to do with myself, or probably get an early retirement at one point. Tom says, an early retirement. That sounds nice. Rob says, it does. Though I don't know if I could ever stop playing music. It's in my blood, man. Though it's hard to tell with what happened. Where the hell I'd end up, really. What about you? Tom says, oh, I'd probably keep the bar running that I had. Feel like I would have probably relocated to a bigger place, at one point. Maybe expand the business, add more to it. But I would have never met Rivers. Or my daughter. At least not in the way I became her father. Things would have been different. Some for the better, some for worse. That's why I don't think about it too often. Sure, things may have been easier, but it does make me wonder how things would have been if the world hadn't ended. Rob says, what about now? What do you see happening for us in the future? Tom says, hopefully something peaceful and easy at the end of all this. Maybe with a little chaos in between. Rob says, yeah, that sounds about right.
To walk away in the middle of a song. You're beautiful.
Currently, we see them running through the woods as they all look broken and defeated. Vel says, he knew he was going to do that. He knew he was going to do that. He knew. Tugo asks, how do you know? Vel says, because I could see it in his eyes. He had nothing else to go on for. He thought saving us was his last resort. We then see a frozen lake ahead of them as Elara says, all right, let's turn back. But then we see several skull hunters on their tail from far behind them as Ryder says, okay, we go. Vel says, what, across the ice? We'll never make that. Ryder says, well, our options are out, Vel. We gotta go. Mara says, yeah, come on, we can do this. Come on. As Vel then takes the first step on the ice as she says, okay, all right, we're good from here. Come on. As we then see them crossing the frozen lake, as they see a few frozen deadheads just floating beneath them as they cross over the river. We see they're almost at the end of the lake. As we then see, the ice is starting to crack, as Ryder says, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. As we see, Vel makes it across as she then waits for them. Tugo then also gets to the other side as well, as Hunter then gets to them, as Elara then hangs back and says, come on, son. As we then see the ice cracking around Ryder and Mara, as they both look nervous, as Elara says, come on, you can do it. But then we see a few deadheads stepping onto the ice lake, as we see the ice is starting to crack even more as they all look panicked. We then see the burned out shack as we see someone's eyes open, as we hear a ringing, as we see. Rob opens his eyes as we see dead soldiers all around him. We see Kai's corpse is then laying there as Rob screams, Kai! Kai! Damn it! We then hear something from across the room as we see the shadow of a man standing across the room, as we see. Ragnar is slowly getting up as we see half his face has been burned He stares Rob down as he says, You. Rob reaches for his sword as Ragnar kicks the sword away as he steps on Rob's arm, as he has a burn on his arm, as he then stands over him and pushes down on the burn on Rob's arm as he looks at him and stares him down as he says, Fight is over, Rob. You lost. Fucking admit it, you lost. Rob then kicks Ragnar to the ground as he falls. Rob picks up his sword as he then starts swiping at Ragnar. As Ragnar dodges every shot, as we see, Rob is in a bad condition as Ragnar then swings as he cuts Rob on the other arm. Ragnar then says, You just couldn't stop, could you? Now we're both gonna die. Rob then says, No, you are. You know, when you started talking about the first day we met, you know, I couldn't just stop thinking to myself, what if I turned your offer down? What if I turned down the job offer you gave me and I spent the rest of my days out on the goddamn streets? Maybe I should have. Maybe I wouldn't have had anything. True. Maybe I wouldn't have had a musical career. Maybe I wouldn't have had any success or money, and maybe somebody would have shot me in the streets and taken my change. But at least I would have died with my pride. At least I wouldn't have sold my soul to the goddamn devil. You ruined my life, Ragnar. Ragnar, you ruined my life, every fucking bit of it. You ruined everyone's lives. But now, finally, you don't get to hurt them anymore. Those lives, those people, my fucking family, they're gone. But not the ones you killed. The ones you didn't. The ones that you thought you deserved. And you will never get them back. My family did survive. You didn't take shit from me. He swings at Ragnar as Ragnar punches Rob, as he punches him twice as they both fight, as Rob then kicks Ragnar down, as Ragnar then rolls to the side, as he then kicks Rob down to the ground, as Ragnar then starts punching Rob over and over and over again, as he then slams Rob's face against the wall over again until Rob's face is nothing but blood. He then kicks Rob to the ground as he then sees Rob is down, as he then is barely able to move, as Ragnar then stands over Rob, as he then sees a candlestick at the side. Ragnar grabs the candlestick as he stands over Rob, and then he stops. He stops himself. He stops the whole thing. As he sits there, and when it comes down to it, Ragnar stands there with a choice to make as he says, God damn it, Johnson. Back with the others, we see the deadheads on the frozen lake as Ryder and Mara are trying to get across as he says, come on, come on. Elara then sees the enforcer has found them as he then starts walking across the river as the ice is cracking. As Elara says, Ryder, Mara, get down. The enforcer then throws a knife towards them. The knife goes into Mara's leg as she screams out, as she then falls. As we see, the ice breaks. Mara falls into the water as Ryder then catches her on time as he says, Mara! Mara! Mara looks scared as Ryder says, hang on, baby. Hang on. Just hold my hand. Hold my hand. As he tries pulling her up, but several deadheads are beneath her, grabbing at her feet as they are trying to pull her leg, as she's trying to kick them off of her, but her left leg is bleeding very badly. As we see the blood in the water, as the deadheads are grabbing at her feet, Elara sees the ice breaking around both of them as she yells, "Ryder!" As Mara looks sad as she looks at him and says, "I love you. I fucking love you. I love you, Ryder." Ryder then says, No, don't let go. Don't let go. Mara, don't fucking let go. Don't fucking let go. The deadheads pull her down as she lets go of Ryder's arm, as she sinks to the bottom, as we see her falling to her death. As the deadheads tear Mara apart, Ryder screams out, "No! No! No! No!" Elara then says, "We gotta go, son. We gotta go." Ryder then sees the enforcer standing at the other end of the lake. Filled with rage, he then starts walking towards him as we see deadheads get in his way, as he starts slicing them up, as he then tackles the enforcer, as we then see the ice is cracking around both of them, as Ryder does not care anymore, as he punches the enforcer over and over and over again, as deadheads then jump Ryder, as he then has to get them off of him, as he then fights these deadheads, as we see he is filled with rage and anger. As we then see the deadheads get in their way, as the enforcer runs away like a bitch, as Ryder then gets pulled back by Elara, as she says, "We gotta go, son. We gotta go now. Son, we gotta go now." Elara then pulls him back and fights through the deadheads as she and her son make it to the other side of the river with the others, as they all lose Mara. Ryder breaks down and says, "It should have been me down there. It should have fucking been me down there. I couldn't fucking help her. I should have been the one. I should have been the one. She didn't need this. She didn't deserve this. She didn't deserve any of this. I told us to go across the water. I fucking told us to go. I told us to go." Elara says, "Hey, don't say that." Ryder says, "I should be the one that's fucking dead. Nothing is fair in this world. Nothing is fair. Nothing is fair. Nothing is fair. Nothing is fair." Elara hugs her son and says, "I got you, son. I got you." As they all look sad and horrified as the rest of the family survives the night.
Stain on the grain of the timber.
The next morning, we see the enforcer stumbling through the woods as we hear, "Hey, what the fuck did you do?" Athena comes up behind him and grabs him and pulls him to the side as she says, "Do you realize that woman was pregnant? And you killed her?" The enforcer says, "You step away, sunshine. That Unless you want to be at the mercy of your father. Athena says, oh, I'm already at the mercy of my father. So it doesn't matter what the hell you threaten me with. You killed a woman and her unborn child. The enforcer says, well, your little friends are as good as dead, darling. Athena then lies for their protection and says, they are dead. The rest died on that lake. They're nothing but deadheads now. Thanks a lot. The enforcer says, well, they had it coming. But we still have Rob. Athena says, doesn't matter. Your search is over. Our search is over. We won. The enforcer says, yeah, we did. It didn't go the way you thought it would, did it? No. Ain't no damn fairy tale here, darling. This story was never gonna end happy.
They darken the lights and the lamps. Our time's gonna come around. The red sun is going down.
We see Ragnar walks onto an open field as we see what's left of the snowstorm. As he then takes a deep breath, as he looks out into the sky with his two open arms in the air, as he smiles in victory.
There's a price to pay for all that we have done. Turn my eyes away and watch the setting sun.
One week later, we see Wyoming. As we see, it's sunny out now. We see the temperatures have dropped. As we see, Wyoming is back in order again. As Ragnar looks out at his town and says, tonight's the night we bring Wyoming back for the people. The enforcer, Athena, and other skull hunters are standing behind him as he says, may the prey live on for generations. This night'll be one to remember.
Now loyalty's a pistol. My heart is full of hope. I'm bleeding.
We see Rob sitting in a prison cell as he hears a door opening. As we see, a skull hunter gives him his food for the day as he says, eat, Mr. Johnson. Ragnar wants you strong for tonight. He starts walking away as Rob says, so what happens now? The man says, you know what happens now. You're quickly becoming a legend to these people. You showed them not to be afraid with your music. And now, you're going to get the chance to do so for the rest of your life. Till the day you die. The man leaves as Rob looks angry, as he hears another man in the cell next to him, as we hear, you couldn't get away, huh? We see the man is Desmond, as we see he's in the cell next to him, as Rob says, excuse me? Desmond says, you didn't get away? Neither did I. Rob says, and who are you? Desmond smiles and says, Mr. Johnson, I'm just another victim of the prey. Back with Vel and the others, we see Ryder sitting by the edge of a cliff, just looking out at the sunset. As we see Elara, Vel, Tugo, and Hunter, as they all look depressed and sad. Elara walks up to him and says, we're about 100 miles out from Washington, D.C. Just a little more, and we'll get there. Ryder says, all right. Elara says, there is nothing that you could have done. Just like we couldn't save Rob, or Mara, or even your father. Ryder says, everything we've been through, Mom. everything we've lost. What's the point of going on? I mean, seriously, what is the fucking point? Elara says, you can't think like that. There's more to this. There's an answer to this. Now, son, you've trusted me for years. I need you to trust me one more time. You get up, and you give me that final push that I know you have inside of you. Ryder is crying as he says, after all these years, after all the death, people we've known, how do you know? And as Elara looks at her son, as she stands there and says, take my hand.
I've played all my cards, and that's what you've done too. Nothing more to say, no more race to play. The winner takes it all.
As we hear an audience screaming and cheering, as we see a full arena of people in the Wyoming stadium, as we see Ragnar at the top of the arena, as he's sitting in a big chair like a king, as we see the enforcer sitting next to him on one side looking happy, as Ragnar then looks at the other side and he sees Athena, who looks at him with nothing but hatred, as he says, I got the best seats in the house. One of the civilians then says, I haven't seen this guy yet. Is he any good? Ragnar smiles and says, oh, I pick nothing but the best. As we see Rob standing there with a skull hunter, as he gives him his guitar, as the guy says, there's lots of people out there waiting for you, Mr. Johnson. You give them the show of their lives, all right? Rob just nods and doesn't say a word. The music starts as we hear, ladies and gentlemen, the man you've all been waiting for, the man that influenced y'all in horrible times. He always helps and he always saves. Mr. Rob Johnson. The crowd goes crazy as Rob runs out and starts performing. As he starts singing, as he looks up at Ragnar, as he does nothing but stares him down. As Ragnar smiles at Rob, as Rob looks at him with a death stare. As we then see him doing a guitar solo, as we then see a man walking up to him on the stage, as Rob takes his guitar and gets ready to kill the man, as then we see the security stops him this time. As the man is ripped off the stage, as Rob just stands there, stunned, as he keeps playing. And this time, Rob doesn't kill a man. As he keeps playing for the people, he finishes the song as the audience cheers for him, as Ragnar looks happy up there. And as we see happy people, and as we hear multiple people chanting his name, and as we see a small smile breaks through as he stands there, and as the prey cheer his name.
If it makes you feel bad, seeing me so tense, no self-confidence, but you see, the winner takes it all. The winner takes it all.
We see Rob sitting in his cell as he's looking out at the window. As he sees the stars in the sky, as he says, "This can't be it. This can't be all there is." As we overhear the Skull Hunter saying, "Hey, there's the new guy." As we see they're bringing in a new prisoner. As the Skull Hunter says, "You're a very valuable man. I have a feeling you're going to serve us well. Just like Mr. Johnson here." As the Skull Hunters step out, as Rob goes up to the cell bars, as he sees this man sitting across from him in the other cell in the shadows, as the man says to him,
But look at us. Here we are again. Goddamn. Good to see you, Mr. Johnson.